We want our voices heard at the table, and we want a stake at the future that we are ultimately going to be living in. I grew up to be very free to be bored.
Your work about brain tumor segmentation and immunotherapy precision. Now, where did this journey begin?
With my mom, and I credit her with giving me the spark, really, that made me realize that I wanted to do something in the field of cancer care. I feel like SGI was something that really aligned with my values.
Hi, welcome to the season finale of No Ordinary Joe, a podcast series that uncovers the less than ordinary lives of Josephines shaping our world today. We've spoken to legends from the class of 74 and game changers from the 90s, but today we're looking at the now. Our guest is an extraordinary Josephine, but it would be wrong for me to call her an old Joe. In fact, our guest isn't an ex-Joe, but an ex-Joe Jet. I bet many of you didn't know SGI has female students. Who needs IG girls now when we have our very own? Our guest today is an 18-year-old visionary who is proving that you don't need a PhD to disrupt the world of medicine. She's a 2026 Top 100 Emerging Innovators Award winner, a National Young Leaders Fellow, and the founder of Immunova AI, a platform using technology to disrupt cancer treatment. Joining us today is the ever-spunky Eve Ang from the class of 2025. But before we begin, a quick word from Simon Xiao, president of the SGI OBA.
Dear Josephines and friends, hello. Is it really time to say goodbye already? This might be the season finale of No Ordinary Joes, a podcast brought to you by the SGI OBA, but it is definitely not the end. We arguably have saved the best for last. Miss Eve Ang, an 18-year-old visionary who represents the future of our SGI alumni community. We hope the stories have inspired and uplifted you and shed some light on the extraordinary lives of these ordinary Joes. If you have a story that is worth sharing, please reach out to the SGI OBA Secretariat at 8628-9678. And always, let us remember that we are in the holy presence of God. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I will continue, O my God, to do all my actions for the love of you. Saint Joseph, pray for us. Saint John Baptist de La Salle, pray for us. Live Jesus in our hearts forever. Jason, over to you.
Hi, Eve.
Hello.
Well, welcome to No Ordinary Joe.
Thank you.
Well, most teenagers are worried about exams and CCA points, and here you are, right? Your work about brain tumor segmentation and immunotherapy precision. Now, where did this journey begin?
This journey began at the age of 12 with my mom, and I credit her with giving me the spark, really, that made me realize that I wanted to do something in the field of cancer care and technology and bring something that can be brought into our communities and reach the people that we truly care about.
So it's all about, mom back then. So maybe take us back to that moment in time when it was what I call your eureka moment that said that I want to make the difference. What was that moment like for you?
To me, it wasn't exactly one specific moment. It was more of a reflection that I had and a very deep retrospective perspective that I use to see how I wanted to make change and also the values that I wanted to make the change with. And it occurred over the course of around 4 years. It wasn't really just like a spark that was like, hey, I want to do something, but I really reflected on what I wanted to build and what I wanted to spend my life on. And I think it ultimately came down to ethics and sustainability. I wanted to build something for the people and for the planet. And yeah, I think that has been my eureka moment.
Oh, thank you. It's very inspiring, I must say. Right, I mean, coming from an 18-year-old, talking about sustainability, talking about ethics, right? Something which even most adults don't even consider in the world of technology today. So as an 18-year-old, you could see that your thought process is very different. What do you think that?
I think it was shaped a lot by the environment that I grew up in. I grew up to be very free to be bored. I think that was something that really allowed me to imagine and go without limits, I'd say. It also gave me kind of the freedom to explore what made me me and what I held truly close to my heart.
Wow, so it's about being true to yourself, yeah?
Yes.
So how did that develop over the years? I mean, you said, make you you. So who is Yi Fang? Maybe you could just describe her to us.
I think if I were to describe it from a third person perspective, Eve Ang is someone who cares about the impact she's making. I don't just want to build something for the sake of building. I want to make sure that the thing that I put my effort in, my time in, brings out societal good for the world.
You mentioned world a couple of times in just
Yeah.
the last couple of moments, right? So very worldly in terms of the world, your worldviews. So who are some of your influences in your life that help craft that point of view?
Other than my mom, I'd say a big part of me is made from the many friends from around the world that I had the pleasure to meet. Whether they are from South Sudan, whether they are from Palestine, I think being able to be exposed to such a wide variety of people and whose different lives journey really made me realize how unique the human experience is and how diverse and beautiful our world is. And I feel like that is something that has really shaped me into believing that the world is still a very beautiful place, no matter how dark it might seem online or just over our usual social media platforms. I think going out there, really connecting with people on a human level, not caring about our race, our ethnicity, our nationality, that has really shaped me into someone who believes that as a whole world together, we can actually make a big impact because a lot of the community problems that we share are not actually in silos. They are together. And when we come together, reflect on the problems that we face, it actually brings about something so beautiful that no one can do in our own small little communities, but we can do and come together.
It's also about bridging the different borders,
Yeah.
bridging the different divides,
Yeah,
and finding that unity among the challenges that we all face together,
absolutely.
right? And your journey started not in SGI as a student, obviously,
Yeah.
but your journey started at MGS, and you came on to SGI in much later years.
Yeah.
I think for the IB program.
Yes.
Maybe you could tell us about that journey. How was it for you? How was that your first introduction to SGI?
My first introduction to SGI was the website. I knew I wanted to pursue the IB program because I wanted the space to figure out who I am in the coursework that I was interested in. And I feel like SGI was something that really aligned with my values. When I first opened the webpage and saw our mission, Aura et Labora and all, I felt like it's something that really reflected who I am as a person that I didn't realize actually even before coming to SGI. And despite coming in at the late age of JC1 and year 5, I feel like I've been so embraced and welcomed by this community that, speaking for myself and my friends, none of us felt really left out.
So let's get back to Aura Elabora later. But let me just bring forth one other theme that has always been the cornerstone of the SGI values, and that's being persons for others. So how much do you think the Lasallian values of faith, service, and community influence the way you structured Immunova as a nonprofit? Yeah.
It started off as a non-profit because I wanted to build something for the world, something that was open source and not kept by any limits. I realized that has changed as I continue to push Immunova with my team because the world isn't black and white. It's varying shades of gray. But the sense of community and faith has always remained the core of what I do. I think community especially has been something that I really resonated with, and not just what I built, but who I built with and who my team comprises of and why we're doing the work that we're doing. That is something that has really shaped me that I still hold dearly from SGI.
Well, so sounds like the community and the memories of SGI are still very fresh in your mind, given you just graduated last year. So maybe share some of the memories you had, right? How was it like being a female student in a school that traditionally has always been an all-boys environment?
It came to me as a surprise. I mean, coming from 10 years of all-girls schools, it was definitely a shock. And I feel, in a way, it was a very pleasant shock. My first feeling of, wow, this is what it means to be a Josephian, was the moment when we sang We Are Lasallian. And I think that remains such a special part of my memories at SGI because it was at very pivotal moments throughout the SGI journey, throughout all the big events and the big days that we have. And it really made me reflect at each different song, the different stage I was at in my SGI journey. And from the first time I walked in with my year 5 orientation to being an orientation group leader and ultimately seeing it at graduation, I think it was such a beautiful, poetic way to shape the SGI journey. And the verses and lyrics during the song really resonate with me, especially with our camaraderie, screaming, Michael. It really made my SGI journey one of a kind for me.
And trust me, the song that you mentioned will stick with you for the rest of your life.
It's one catchy song.
Yeah, it's not going to be something that you will ever forget, including the school rally. 10 years from now, 20 years from now, it will just come back to you very naturally.
I hope so.
Well, talking about SGI, we talked about some of the
Yes.
teachers earlier on, right? Was there anybody who was a inspiration for you? Someone who really was your biggest source of influence, perhaps?
I would give that credit to two of my teachers, my form tutor, Mr. Kenneth Wee, and my biology tutor and extended essay mentor, Mr. Kairozat. The two of them were such pivotal people and pillars, even I would say, for my SGI journey, because they both shaped me and supported me in so many ways that I can't even begin to express my gratefulness for them. Whether it was writing a recommendation letter or seeking their advice on some projects and ideas that I had, they were really always there for me and really reflected what it means to be a Josephian. And I really saw them embodying the values, the Lassallean values, in their everyday lives.
So there were teachers, and I'm sure your experience in SGI must have been very rich, filled with deeds and misdeeds. So let's talk about those days, right? What are some of the deeds and misdeeds that you fondly remember of your days back in school?
I'd say one of my most memorable memories would be during those lab sessions in chemistry class, where my friends and I would just be toying around with how to make flames different colors. And I think it was those little moments where we didn't just think about what we were studying, but we thought about who we were studying with and just enjoying the moment. I think those little moments really made me realize that life is so much more than the big milestones that we place, but it's really just in the little memories that we make with the people we care about. And even outside of the lab, in between lessons, when I would say hi to my friends, because in SGI, when we change classes, I feel like every different class, I have a different set of friends. That is such a wonderful thing. And I feel like it just made me have such a broader friend group that I could have ever imagined coming into SGI. And yeah, I think it's all those in-between moments that really defined what I imagine my SGI journey now when I look back.
Yeah, for those of you on camera, right, you can't feel the warmth that I'm actually feeling right now. Actually recollect some memories. But let's talk about the motto we talked about earlier, Ora Labora. Right. So how has Ora Labora actually affected your years?
To me, Ora Elabora, I distinctly remember not knowing what it meant. And I was still asking my orientation group leaders, hey, what does this mean? Why is it at the back of everyone's t-shirts? And it's not in a language that I understand. And it started off really as something that we just chant, as something that brought together Josephians. But I think coming to the end of my Josephian journey in SGI really made me realize that it's something that unites us and it's something that bonds us, because no matter from what class we are or even where we're located or based in, Ora Elabora is something that distinctly reminds you that, hey, I'm a Josephian, you're a Josephian. And it immediately ignites this Josephian fire within you that, hey, this person's a Joe. And I think that spark and that memory is something that Ora Elabora means a lot.
So let's talk about that, because right now you're no longer just a Josephian, but you have evolved. You're now joining the community of old Joes.
Yeah.
So what does that mean to you?
Joining as an old Joe. Well, that makes me feel old, but it also makes me feel very honored to join such a distinguished community of people who genuinely care about the work we're doing. No matter what industry or area of interest we're working in, I feel like the values that we Josephians bring into our daily lives is something that makes the Josephian community and the Old Boys Association so unique. And it also reflects it's a responsibility to the future Josephians and potential Josephians in the upcoming open houses. I feel like it's a sense of belonging and a sense of trust that, hey, I get to be an ambassador of what it means to be a Josephian, and I get to spread the word that, hey, this is what it means to embody the values of a Lassallean education.
So that's really about you giving back, paying it forward as
Yes.
Josephian.
And I actually had the pleasure of having a few of my family friends being old Joes themselves. And it was so wonderful to be able to bond with them over the fact that we went to the same school, we had the same uniform, and just laugh over the little moments that really makes us Josephians.
Wow. That's great memories, I must say.
It is.
All right, so let's talk about Immunova, is it correct? Immunova? Right, so you're working with labs, institutions, and for the ordinary Joes listening, what exactly does your AI platform actually do?
So what we're doing is essentially predicting the outcome of a specific cancer treatment called immunotherapy. And this specific treatment is quite a new treatment. So it's something that's quite niche, and I understand many Josephians may not have heard of it. But it's something that I feel very passionate about because there is a lot of room to be done, a lot of space to innovate in. So what my tech does is it essentially predicts the outcome before patients undergo it using the patient's own data.
Well, so is this something very, I would say, new in the field of cancer treatment, or is this something that is a white space right now?
Yeah, it's not exactly the newest, but it has never really been focused on South and Southeast Asians. It's usually been largely focused on the global north traditionally. So what my team and I try to do is we try to bring our fresh approach into it, as well as seeing how we can really integrate this into a community level and not just make this another tech product on the market.
But it sounds like the journey has been long and it wasn't an easy one, I'm sure.
Definitely. There were many, many nights of just questioning myself, why? Why am I doing this? When there were so many people who were just slamming doors in your face. But I think looking back, it really reminded me why I'm doing the work that I'm doing. And the fact that it's not easy is a good sign, because if it's easy, it means somebody has done it already.
But perhaps share with us some of the challenges that you face along this journey and how do you actually overcome those challenges?
I think the biggest challenge would be finding support. As a 17-year-old, as I started the project, it's very difficult to rally belief around your idea and your vision that cancer care can be sustainable, accessible, effective, and work for both the planet and the people. And I think that has been something that I've been always working on, trying to improve. And ultimately, along the way, I realized that there are always people, few and far between, that would believe you and open up doors. And gradually, as this adds up, it creates a really big domino effect, I feel, that helped to move along the way.
Was there anyone that really helped you the most along this journey?
Yes, and ironically, I've never met them in person.
Really?
So there were 2 or 3 very special people who either donated funds, provided mentorship support, or just opened my eyes really to what it means to innovate in this ever-changing world.
So these are silent heroes that believe in your values, believe in your
Yeah.
cause, and just wanted to help make the difference.
Yeah.
And are they in Singapore or are they from around the world?
They are from around the world and from all backgrounds, actually, all walks of life, which makes me very heartened because it shows that everyone, no matter how they come from, has something to give. And if they have the right heart and come from the right place, I think it would mean a lot. And it's something that, really touched me. And I'm still so grateful to them for not only keeping the flame alive in me, but changing the course of Immunova.
And where are you with the platform today? What are your future steps that you hope to take?
So I'm actually on one of my biggest steps right now. I'm moving to San Francisco, in a city where I have absolutely no support system and just starting from scratch. I think that's the next step for Immunova, to have access to labs, to have access to top mentors in Silicon Valley, and to really immerse ourselves in what it means to innovate without limits. And I can't wait to see what I can do in the 4 months there and what it translates for us here at home.
And is Singapore going to be home for you? Are you going to come back or are you going to just expand the platform in San Francisco?
Singapore is absolutely home. There is no place like home. And I think no matter how far opportunities can take you, you should always really know where your roots come from. And with SJI here, with MGS here, my friends, my family, my teachers, my classmates, I think there's just so much going on here in Singapore that my heart is buried deep in. I can never leave.
Well, it's good to know that Singapore is really home for you. And you talked about explainable AI earlier, about ethics, right? So maybe for the listeners who are really not too tech savvy, what do you think is so dangerous about AI or even medical AI just being a total black box? And how does Immunova actually solve that?
So the term black box is used to indicate how AI cannot be seen in the way that when you insert data into a model, you can't really see what's happening. So it's kind of like putting your hand in a black box and you're completely oblivious to what's going on inside. And in the context of medical data, that's scary because medical data is very confidential, it's very private, it's very sensitive. And especially in the fact that it can be used against us by big pharmaceutical companies, I think making AI understandable, especially to the people that use it, whether it be clinicians, whether it be patients themselves, knowing how technology is being used for you and to help you is a very key part in building trust as we move towards this age of technology and AI, which doesn't seem to be stopping anytime soon. I feel like the best approach for us right now is knowing how we approach it and how we handle and deal with AI in our everyday lives. That makes the real difference.
So it's really about making the effort to go deep in to understand
Yes.
and appreciate the nuances of what AI can
Yeah.
do for us. And you talk about your platform being a non-profit, or your
Yes.
company being a non-profit. So why do you choose to go down this path?
I initially chose this because the data that I was able to access was entirely open source, which means that anyone anywhere on earth can download it and use it. And in my first idea, my first ever spark for Immunova, I wanted it to be built by the people for the people. And I've come to realize that that's not always the case, which is why I'm trying to pivot to a more social enterprise, a B corporation status, where I'm still able to pursue my mission with Immunova, but am able to protect my team and I's copyrights and our innovations to ensure that we are always able to use our technology in the ways and the values that we see fit.
And we were just talking about this earlier, right?
Yes.
I mean, about you being worldly, right? At the same time being at home, right? And making sure that your technology is accessible by the Southeast Asian
Yeah.
medical community, not in the major cities, but in the secondary tier 2, tier 3 cities, so that it's accessible by all, basically.
Yeah.
Right? And you also talked about, right, you representing some Singapore and some of the different stages globally. Maybe let's talk more about that. What's your stint like for the next 5 years?
I do hope to continue bringing Singapore and specifically Southeast Asian voices to the table. I think my experiences being at the UNHQ in New York, being on stages in Prague, and the many stages that I've been so grateful to be invited to this coming year has really made me realize just how underrepresented our region is. Despite us having one of the largest youth populations and being a region that's bustling with research and development, I still feel that our voices are severely underrepresented on the global stage, and that is something that I aspire to continue doing to really ensure that in the rooms where decisions are being made, that there should be Southeast Asian youth who are able to voice concerns and make sure that our community's needs are heard by the global stages.
And being 17, 18, you showed us that age is no barrier for you. So how did you even start on this? How did a 70-year-old student during her A-levels, or was it IB exams,
Yes.
right, start on this journey? Was it difficult?
It definitely wasn't something that happened overnight, but I desperately knew that I wanted to create an impact and didn't really want to wait for a degree to make it happen, because I know that whenever we try to wait for the right time in life to start, it never really starts. So to me, I wanted to get a head start and see how far it could go. To me, there was nothing to lose. We are studying the IB program, and there is no better time to explore and essentially practice the values of the IB program in real life. And I think that's what really just made me begin. There's no one saying no, and no matter how many no's I rack up, all it takes is 1 or 2 yeses that could blow the ship up and shoot for the moon.
So it's really that one yes that just propagated to more yeses,
Yeah.
you're saying. And you said that you're not doing this alone. You have a team with you. And
Yeah.
From what I've researched, you built a network of hundreds of youth innovators across 45 countries. So how did you, as a student, actually lead a global team of fellow students and fellow PhD students?
It definitely was a long journey to recruit students and to hear out everyone's perspective of what cancer looks like in their own countries. And it made me realize how diverse just the word cancer is, and it reflects so differently in so many people across different contexts, different continents, different regions. And it made me really appreciate the diversity and also use this knowledge to see how I can build my own technology for these communities and make sure that our tech reaches them. And in a way, it's also built for the communities, because cancer is also, the responses to cancer are largely determined by our own heritage, our genetics, and our own personal, what makes us us, basically. And it was a long process of talking physically and both virtually, but step by step, it comes together. That's what I'll say.
So has it come together for you, or are you still at the start of this journey, or do you see yourself at the middle, or is it coming towards its period of maturity?
I see us at the start of a very rapid innovation period, and a lot of pivots, a lot of changes, adjustments, and reiterations could be made. I think that's the stage I see Immunova at right now. And despite there being so much uncertainty, I think it's also so exciting that there's so much room for what I don't know yet, and just not knowing what the future holds. I think there's so much beauty in the fact that the the future is unknown, and that means that I can build it. And yeah, it's all up to what my team and I can do in the coming months, and that's something that really excites me, keeps me going.
No, I love that. And recently you convened a session at the Science Summit 2025
Yes.
alongside the 80th UN General Assembly. So what was the main message at this assembly?
It was quite a shocker, actually, to be invited with my team to speak at this summit. And we really wanted to use this opportunity to not only highlight the product that we were doing, but how we were doing it and why we were doing it. I was taking a look at all the different other sessions that were being convened, and something that I wanted to convey was really, youth can do this. Youth can build something that has meaning and something that can change the world one day. We might take a slower time with it, but we want our voices heard at the table, and we want a stake at the future that we are ultimately going to be living in.
Nice. And you've been honored by Visionaries, Mercedes-Benz, the Singapore Computer Society, and even at the UNHQ. But at the end of the day, you're only 18, a fresh graduate. So how do you switch from being a boardroom representative to a math tutorial? Or in your case, let's talk about biology tutorial.
I think I like to call it being a double agent, because I would be having calls with my friends from the US and then immediately jumping into, coincidentally, a math tutorial. And I would credit that to my teachers to being very understanding and so accommodating, as they know what I'm doing, and really just being so adaptable to the little changes and just understanding that every single day is different. That has really helped me so much in my journey. And I don't think it's necessarily about switching, because at the end of the day, I kind of like to blend the two of them together. The IB gives me the skills, gives me the knowledge, and the support system to pursue what I'm doing. And along the same lines, my project does allow me to be passionate and see the real world impact of what I'm learning in IB. And I think that is just such a wonderful cycle to be in. Knowing what I'm learning and how I'm applying my learning has been, I've been so grateful for that opportunity.
Any fond memories that you want to share? Because you talk about it blending together. So
Yes.
was there a moment for you that go like, wow, this is making such a big difference to me as a student?
I would say it's receiving big news before going to my classes and just buzzing with excitement. I remember I received one of the acceptance emails, I think 5 minutes before my Chinese lesson started, and I was just buzzing with joy and excitement because I couldn't read my message and I couldn't continue reading it. All I could see was the subject line of congratulations, and I was already so excited. And I think it's those little moments of joy during some days that might feel more difficult than others. And yeah, I think it's just the ups and downs really just make it all worthwhile.
It's back to what we talked about earlier, celebrating small wins.
Yes, it is.
And currently you're taking a gap year. We talked about that. You're going to San Francisco for the next 4 months to explore the unknown.
Yes.
So what's in San Francisco for you? What are the plans there?
I plan to specifically access some industry labs, and that's one of the main reasons why I'm going, because there's a 16-story building that I have complete access to, and I can even run clinical trials on, which I'm so excited to explore because I believe it could open up so many doors for Immunova that I can't even imagine right now, still here in Singapore, and having not seen the full capabilities of what this lab can do. And most importantly, I think it's also just the overall ecosystem at Atmosphere. Everyone is pushing the boundaries of what it means to innovate. And I can't wait to see what it's like to be a small part of it and feel the energy, the buzz. And that is something that I want to bring back to Singapore.
Wonderful. And the last few moments has been all about the heavy stuff, right? We talk about AI, talk about ethical AI, we talk about sustainability, we talk about your team, right? All this is all the heavy stuff. I'm glad we managed to get it all out of the way, right? But being SGI, it's about keeping it real.
Yes.
So let's have this chat now, Joe to Joe.
All right.
Right? What's the real Eve? Who is she, and how would her best friend describe her?
Okay.
So how would best friend of Eve describe Eve?
I'd say I'm quite a bubbly person. I think it's something that both my teammates can say and my best friends can say. I'm someone who brings a lot of energy to what I'm doing, no matter if I'm going out for a fun day out shopping or I'm spending my day coding. I love to put myself 100% in whatever I'm doing at the moment and just live in the moment. I think that's something my friends really describe me as.
So let's talk about ordinary Eve now, right? Any funny or embarrassing moments you'd like to share?
Embarrassing moments. I'd say it didn't necessarily happen to me, but there were many moments in my SGI journey that really made me laugh when I look back at it. Whether it's emailing the wrong teacher or it's walking into the wrong classroom and getting stunned by my friends being like, what are you doing inside here? I think there are a lot of moments in life as a Josephian that made me just enjoy life as it is. There's some quirks, there's some laughter, some red faces of embarrassment, but I think it's just really, really, really reflects what it means to be a Josephian and just live life, Not perfect, but enjoying every bit of it.
I like that. Not perfect. Not perfect, ordinary Eve. And that's something that, it's about us keeping it real. So tell us something about yourself that most people don't know.
I'd say most people at SGI wouldn't know that I actually used to play music.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I used to write songs and I loved using it as my first way of creating an impact and finding my voice. I actually love to write songs to create atmospheres, ironically. And I was actually quite grateful that when I first started my Josephian journey, one of my songs was actually playing on the SMRT. And
Really? Which song is this?
it's called Lavender's Blue. So it's my rendition of a traditional English folk song that was actually made famous by the Cinderella movie. And some of my Josephian friends have actually heard of it on their way to school. And yeah, it was playing along the downtown line. And that was something that really made quite a sweet touch because it actually played at Stevens MRT itself.
Oh, nice. So it's like something you hear before you actually go to school.
Yes.
And we talked about your mother a lot earlier.
Yeah.
So tell us more about the relationship with mom. Right? How is she such an inspiration to you?
I think she's such a big part of my life because she really shaped how I view things and how I work around difficult points, difficult moments, and really my outlook and mindset on life. My mom always taught me to never give up. I think that was the one phrase that she kept on drilling into me, that it doesn't matter how difficult it gets, you should never ever give up what you believe in. And I think that has reflected in every way possible, even through my music first or right now through Immunova, that no matter how many times people would say no matter how many naysayers there are, I will never stop what I'm doing. And it might change the form that it looks, it might change the product, but the values, the goals, the mission that I come in with will always remain the same. And I think that is something that my mom really has imparted into my heart, and something that really makes me grateful to my relationship with her. We have been very close and we're still very close. And it's always lovely to know that at the end of the day, I'm building this so that no other kid can watch their mom go through what I'm watching my mom go through. And every day I ask her a few more questions about what her cancer journey is like, and it inspires me ever bit more to do the work that I'm doing.
Wonderful. And she obviously made you more resilient to face the world.
Definitely.
And this may be the most difficult question yet.
All right,
Right?
let's go for it.
Why SGI? You were NGS.
Yes.
Right. And then after that, you went on the website, you saw the values, but why SGI?
I think to me, it was really about the alignment with where I wanted to spend my JC years. I came into SGI knowing that I wanted to explore outside of academics, outside of IB, and I wanted an environment that suited this and would support me through this. And seeing SGI's emphasis on community, on service, and ultimately knowing that they are very focused on holistic development, that was something that really drew me to SGI, because they didn't just care about what I was on paper, what my IB results said I got, and they really cared about who I was as a person, what I did outside of my schooling life, and how they can support me, my teachers, my principals, and the wonderful staff, admin staff, and even my friends. I think it was something that I could already tell from the open house, and something that I really wanted to be a part of.
So the ordinary Eve. Right? They
Yes.
appreciated the ordinary Eve, not one
Yeah.
was behind the papers. So what's the one thing that's most misunderstood about you?
I can kind of see why this is misunderstood about me, but I can be quite a I can be quite a strict person and quite uptight. And I can kind of see that because when I do work and I do put myself into projects or even just schoolwork, coursework, sometimes I do tend to just go full on in, and I am very passionate about what I do. And sometimes that translates into me just like being fully focused in, and I am not the best multitasker. So at times I do understand how some people might misinterpret me as being very uptight, being very bossy, or just not being the most friendly, because when I do commit myself to something and I'm like locked in that time frame, yeah, that's all I'm thinking. I'm eating, living, breathing. Every part and every fiber of my body is just thinking about that one thing.
So it's about fulfilling the commitment and doing whatever
Yeah.
it takes just to get there.
Yep.
Well, thank you for being so real with us. I really appreciate that. And now we're going to do something really special.
Yes.
All right. So it's time where on the episode of No Ordinary Joe, we do a rapid fire round just to get to know you a little better.
Absolutely.
So don't overthink this. Right. What we'd like you to do is just use your gut reaction.
Yeah.
Just answer the questions.
All right, let's go.
Are you ready?
Mhm.
All right. Coding or music?
Music.
Old school canteen. What's the one dish you cannot live without?
It's not really a dish. Waffles, though.
Waffles.
I love the waffles.
Oh, they actually sold waffles.
It's so delicious. I cannot go without it every day. But yes.
All right. Next question. Something a little bit relevant to your age group.
Okay.
Blackpink or Backstreet Boys?
Backstreet Boys.
Stay local or think global?
Stay local.
AI or human?
Human.
Silicon Valley or River Valley?
River Valley.
Very good. Complete the sentence. My other side can be found.
My other side can be found running around. I love to get active.
And what would be that one word for the graduating class of 2026?
2026. So my juniors. Wow. Just one word.
One word.
Okay. I would say perseverance, because I believe it captures so much of what the SGI journey is about. Everyone's journey isn't a straight line. I think that's so beautiful. And at the end of the day, as we persevere through and work through the difficulties together as one Josephine family, it makes everything worth it.
And for a Josephine and another Josephine, every Josephine finds his way. His or her way this time around.
Yes.
F1 or becoming number one?
Becoming number one.
Complete the sentence. An ordinary Joe is someone who
An ordinary Joe is someone who does the best to make a positive impact with whatever they have.
Thank you. That's the end of this rapid fire round.
That was quick, rapid.
And now for a special on every episode of No Ordinary Joe.
Yep.
What we'd like you to do is to issue a little challenge to our listeners and our viewers, something that everyone can attempt right in their own free time that embodies our motto, the Josephine spirit over the bar. So what would that challenge be?
My challenge would be to sit down with your relatives and have a talk with them about how they view life and their values. I think that is something that really would shape how you view your family and who you surround yourself with. And it's also such a beautiful way to connect on a deeper level when you realize that there are certain values, certain morals that you and your family really, really believe in together. And yeah, I love it. I think that's my one challenge. It's really quick to do, over dinner, over lunch, over a cup of coffee.
Thank you, Eve. Now that's very inspiring. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of our episode with Eve. Thank you for joining us this evening. Eve, you showed us that being an ordinary Joe is just a starting life for a life less ordinary. It's really hard to believe that you're just 18 as you seem to have achieved so much already. You're certainly going to have quite an adventure ahead of you. Remember, you'll always find a little help from a Joe on your journey. Thank you for coming on our podcast. To our listeners, thank you for joining us for the final episode of this season. We hope that you found insights and meaning to the stories we have shared over the last few months. Please join us again for our next season. If each challenge spoke to you, give it a go. If her story sparked something, share it. Whether you're class of 72, 88, or 2025, stay curious and keep it real. After all, even an ordinary Joe can lead a life less ordinary. I'm Jason Chen, and this has been No Ordinary Joe.